This is Computer Insider, Canada's award-winning television series with Bob Pritchard. This week, we see how technology is being applied to global positioning devices, which not only tell you your location, but also interface with CD-ROM technology to show you local points of interest. Later, we'll warp into OS2. This week on Computer Insider. Computer Insider is brought to you by AST Computer. You'll like the way we work. Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds come sharp products.
Thank you very much for joining us again this week on Computer Insider. Well, as it happens in every industry, those industry leaders have to go out and map out where technology is going to go to, where their product lines are going to go to. And sometimes they turn to some rather unusual sources to find out what the future directions will be. Microsoft has come across one of those circumstances. They've opened up a contest called Imagine the Magic, which is open to children in grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, what Microsoft would like them to do is to write down in 50 words or less what the coolest computers would do in the future. They're going to go through those letters and hopefully get some good ideas. And also, they're going to take those 6 best letters and give them a trip out to their headquarters in Redmond, Washington, as well as giving them a full multimedia computer and software. If you want to get more details on that, I'd strongly suggest you contact your local Microsoft authorized dealer. Other news comes from software piracy for you. Autodesk has announced results of their anti-piracy program. Over the last 7 years, they've investigated some 4,500 cases of pirated software and netted over $15 million in revenues. Autodesk says it's not a financial thing that they're worried about. It's the fact that when people use pirated software, they tend not to use the applications as well because they don't have access to the manuals and they don't have access to the customer support lines either. So it makes it a very difficult proposition. Remember, piracy is against the law here in Canada. For Computer Insider, I'm Bob Pritchard.
Computer Insider's Industry Insights has been brought to you by QMS, Seamless Network Printing.
The secret to being successful with technology is not so much an understanding of what the technology itself is supposed to do, but more a case of how to use the applications that take advantage of the technologies that are available. We recently had an opportunity to go to Japan to see how the Japanese are using modern computer-based technologies, and we had quite a surprise. In fact, we came across a number of tapes that showed how they think technology should be implemented. We wanted to let you know that these tapes have never been available outside of Japan, and it's going to show you some rather interesting applications and uses for technology.
I think we'll get there faster this way.
This is fun. Give it to me. Give it to me.
It's a good thing we went along the old road, wasn't it?
Katese Bridge has a length of 370 meters. You are now entering Tsubanuma County.
Here's the bridge.
After this bridge, we go through a tunnel.
Roger.
You are approaching Takakura Tunnel.
Oh, this brings back memories.
There's the tunnel. The tunnel, the tunnel.
Takakura Tunnel has a total length of 2,154 meters.
I remember. This area hasn't changed a bit.
I'm hungry.
There should be a restaurant around here that serves fish from the river. Oh, that's it.
We are now taking reservations.
It looks so good.
The building has changed, but the food looks as good as before.
Hey, how did you know about this restaurant?
Huh?
I was completely amazed to the level of applications that technology has been taken to in Japan. For example, we saw a global positioning system which is available in North America, but there's much more detail available in terms of the maps and images that come with the GPS system. When we were traveling around in Tokyo and Osaka, we noticed a number of cars had the GPS installed inside it as well. In fact, it was interesting because of the huge traffic jams that existed over there. You pushed a little button on the machine and suddenly it became a television set picking up local broadcast transmissions. Remember, the technologies are coming here to North America, and it's a matter of us looking to see how we want to apply those technologies. Speaking about applied technology, we have our fax on demand system all set for you. It's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All you have to do is dial from your fax machine to the first number on your screen. Then you'll be able to get all the latest information and find out what's happening in the world of high technology. And as always, we'd like to hear from you to find out what you're doing with your computer system, so please drop us a note to our fax mailbox. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll be meeting with Bill Waite of Siemens Canada on Computer Insider.
If you want to attract more business, you've got to work together. We all have our own special visions of where we want to be and how we want to work, wherever we are. At AST, we build computers to meet your worldview with award-winning products, service, and support. From notebooks to super servers, AST Computer. You'll like the way we work.
Today's marketplace demands more information delivered faster than ever before. D-Link helps make that happen. D-Link manufactures network interfaces. D-Link connects computer systems with bridges and routers. D-Link writes network management software. D-Link manufactures computer networking and internetworking products to bring this world closer together. D-Link Corporation.
When John Nagy joined CompuServe, he was new at computing and an old hand on the mountain. He joined to get more out of his computer and more out of life. On CompuServe, as on the mountain, there was always something to discover, like the solution to a software problem that wasn't in the manual, or being one of the first to know about that special vacation spot and how to save time and money getting there. The mountain was a source of satisfaction he would never outgrow. In a way, a lot like CompuServe. For more information, call 1-800-554-4088. Start with the basics, news, travel, and encyclopedia, and more for just $8.95 a month. Then go beyond for free software and help with hardware and software problems. You'll get more out of your computer and more out of life. CompuServe, the information service you won't outgrow.
Probably one of the leading problems with using computers is that once you've learned to use the technology, you want something more for the computer to do. If, for example, you've been using Windows to drive your applications, you now realize that there are other things that you would like your computer to do that are not easily done within Windows today. Microsoft also understands this and is releasing a new version later next year called Windows 95. Other companies are also fighting for our desktop. One of those companies is IBM with a product called OS2. Now, this is their advanced operating system, and it's more sophisticated than Windows, more along the area of what you might see on Windows NT. At any rate, they've just released a new version into the marketplace called Warp. It's OS2 version 3. And rather than us trying to explain to you all that's in the package, we thought we'd go out to IBM and have them explain to us what Warp is all about.
Warp is a piece of software that makes your computer easier to use. So regardless of today, if you're a Windows user or you're a novice user, you install Warp and it makes your system easier to use. It comes complete with a whole set of applications, including probably the most exciting piece, which is our one-button access to the internet. We believe that the 5 most important features of Warp are its ability to access the internet very easily and seamlessly for the user. It provides one-button access and very, very little technical knowledge on behalf of the user. And what the computer does for you now, or what OS2 Warp does for you now, is tells the user at what point in time of the various connections these things are happening, and it's outlined by the green stripe that goes across the panel on the screen. As you dial, your signal goes from the computer into the modem and makes a connection through the phone. Once the phone connection is made, we then try and get onto the IBM network and then get linked into the internet. Now that all the sections are green, we're connected to the internet. Second key feature would be its rich multimedia capability. It comes with the ability for the user to display Kodak photo CD technology, to do amateur videography kind of functions, taking and editing home videos, the ability to conference online over the internet with someone hundreds or thousands of miles away. With OS2 Warp, you can play videos that you can get from the internet or from any source. Or with the right hardware, you can actually use your home video system and edit videos and record them and leave them on your PC. Third key feature would be the applications that come included with Warp. Full function applications that are included in the box, such as a word processor, a spreadsheet, a database, a report writer, faxing, and personal information manager, just to name a few. Inside the bonus pack comes IBM Works, which is a Works package, but it's full function, full-fledged applications, such as word processing, spreadsheet, database, charting, and report writing. With the word processor and the spreadsheet, we can take data from one package, simply click on it, and drag it across, and drop from the spreadsheet, in this case, into the word processor. And that's how easy it is to exchange information between the two applications. The fourth key reason is its performance. Because it's in its fifth major release, we've improved the trim and the fit and the function so that this version of OS2 will now run in 4 megabytes of memory. The last reason would be for investment protection. You can take the programs that you have today, your Windows programs, your DOS programs, and you can keep them and run them under OS2 Warp. As well, it opens up a whole new platform for what we call 32-bit advanced applications that you can also run in concert with your existing applications of today.
IBM has quite a task ahead of them to get Warp accepted into the marketplace. Although it's a very strong package with many advantages, the problem is that OS2 has not been readily accepted into the marketplace. One of the problems was the difficulty of installing the application, which has been fixed with Warp, where it's now a single button install. And also it's been more difficult to actually understand than, let's say, Windows, primarily because we now have a background in Windows where OS2 for most of us is a new operating environment. The advantages are with Warp that you're able to run true multitasking. You could be formatting a floppy disk while you're writing a letter, while you're sending a fax, something which does present a bit of a challenge if you are used to working in the Windows environment. IBM has until Windows 95 becomes a reality to get the system out there and functional. Two things to remember is, first of all, it doesn't work in Windows for workgroups, in other words, peer-to-peer networking. You can use it with a Novell operating system, but you have to get a patch for the OS2 layer. Also, if you're using compressed drives with Stacker, you must get the OS2 compression utility in order for OS2 to work. All that said, IBM has about 6 to 10 months to get this product up and flying. Coming up next, how to build some graphics in your letters on Computer Insider.
Only sharp presentation systems deliver the winning combination. Don't miss your next opportunity. Get the Sharp Edge. From a family of incredibly vivid computer projection panels to our convergence-free LCD projectors, you too can have multimedia presentation power like never before. Up to 16 million colors in computer, video, or combined. Sharp presentation systems and you, the winning combination. Computer Insider's radio reports can be heard 4 times daily on 680 News. Bob Pritchard brings you the latest computer news and information highlights from Canada's award-winning technology report. Be sure to watch Computer Insider's Files, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings at 6:40 on Canada AM and at 11:28 p.m. immediately following the CTV National News.
When John Nagy joined CompuServe, he was new at computing and an old hand on the mountain. He joined to get more out of his computer and more out of life. On CompuServe, as on the mountain, there was always something to discover, like the solution to a software problem that wasn't in the manual, or being one of the first to know about that special vacation spot and how to save time and money getting there. The mountain was a source of satisfaction he would never outgrow, in a way a lot like CompuServe. For more information, call 1-800-554-4088. Start with the basics, news, travel, and encyclopedia, and more for just $8.95 a month. Then go beyond for free software and help with hardware and software problems. You'll get more out of your computer and more out of life. CompuServe, the information service you won't outgrow.
Computer Insider is brought to you by Maxell. Every Maxell computer product is 100% tested, certified, and guaranteed for life to ensure that your precious data will be completely safe. Maxell, always a generation ahead.
Probably the single biggest question I'm asked about is how do you get your letterhead into your word processing documents. So today we're going to show you how you can use a graphics package to build your letterhead, then export that information over into your word processor. To get things going, we're going to double click on our icon for the graphics package and then get this thing going. Because we're working in a graphical file, all we have to do is to move around within the image itself and simply click on the various areas of the screen, and we can then edit those areas. In fact, I want to show you right now how you can do that by going into the edit portion, the text edit, and it's going to give us a whole raft of possibilities. Over in here we have the various fonts that we can use, and over here is the point sizes, and up in here is the text edit area. That's the text we're working on. I really don't want to change around the various things we're doing here in terms of our business card, so we're just going to exit without making any changes. The next step is to go into the export mode, and what we're going to do is simply click on export from the file menu, and it takes us into this menu. And what we can do here is we can look at the file names. Actually right now it's asking us if we want to overwrite the existing file. It's a safety precaution built into Windows. We've selected PCX, and because we want to use the grayscale, it's a smaller file and it's easier to build, we're using gray instead of color. If you were going to go to a color printer or something that color was important, you could export it as a color document. Now what this little bar here is telling us is how far along the export is in terms of getting the file written onto the hard disk. Now that we've got it all done, what I want to do is I want to go over to Word, and we do that by holding down the Alt and the Tab button together, and we're going to open up a new document. And we're going to do that by just pressing on the icon up over here. It builds a new document. We're going to insert our letterhead by simply clicking on Picture. It's going to bring up a series of directories so that what we can do is go into the document, select the subdirectory we want. Actually, I use the Bob subdirectory because it's much easier for me to find the data. Select the file, click on it. Now the computer is going to go and start working on bringing that file up in that picture up into our document. Remember, the more images, the more graphical detail that you have in the file, the more disk space it takes, and the more time it's going to take to import that document or that file up into the computer. In fact, when we look at this line coming across here, it's telling us how long it's going to take or how much more time it's going to take for that image to come into the computer. Faster machines do the job in a faster time. That's one of the things you have to consider when you're going to buy a computer for your own use. How fast is this going to go, and how much time is it going to save me in doing that? Once we have the image up into memory, what's going to happen is it's going to write it right across the screen, just like this. Remember, we've got this laid out to fit our page. If you have a different page size or a different image, you might have to do some more work on it once it comes up. Actually, I think I'll show you that in just a couple of minutes. We put some data down over in here, the date. Now is an opportunity for me to show you about how we can change the data size or the information size. We're going to bring up my signature. I scanned it through a fax machine into the computer, and I used a text editor or a graphics editor to get the image the way I wanted it. And what we're going to do here is we're going to import it. Remember, this line is telling us how far along we are in the importation of the document. Once we get the file up into the document, what's going to happen is it's going to come up over here on the screen, but it's going to be just a little teensy-weensy signature, far too small for anybody to read. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on it over here, just click on the edge, thank you, go to the far corner right here, and we can drag it down over into this area, and bingo, we have a full-size signature so that we can get it out on a document and have it read. Let's go over to the studio and see how this works in technical terms. Remembering that we're working in a Windows application, it's best to have 8 megabyte of RAM in your computer, but a good idea would be to have 16 megabyte. Also remember, the faster the processor, the better. Don't forget, if you'd like to get our free fax newsletter, call our Fax on Demand system from your fax machine 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Coming up from Siemens Canada, Bill Waite on Computer Insider.
Two days until the presentation. Plenty of time to pull it all together.
Hi, Marcy. Sorry, the deadline moved up 24 hours. See you in the morning.
Looks like a long night ahead. With her AST computer, she'll make it on time. AST computers in support for a winning performance. From notebooks to super servers, AST computer. You'll like the way we work.
Today's marketplace demands more information delivered faster than ever before. D-Link helps make that happen. D-Link manufactures network interfaces. D-Link connects computer systems with bridges and routers. D-Link writes network management software. D-Link manufactures computer networking and internetworking products to bring this world closer together. D-Link Corporation.
Today on Computer Insider's Executive Briefing, we're speaking with Bill Waite, President of Siemens Canada. And before we get to the nitty-gritty questions for Siemens, I wanted to give you a little bit of background about the company. In North America, Siemens is well known in various vertical markets like switching and medical devices, but they also do a number of other products. For example, the opening and closing of the dome at Sky Dome is a Siemens product. Once you move out of North America into Europe, you find Siemens is a very robust company dealing with consumer electronics, generating stations, recycling centers, and a whole raft of other products. So today I wanted to start with Bill, and if you could just give us a background really about NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, and how that's going to impact Siemens.
I'm very bullish on NAFTA. The very fact that we have manufacturing plants in Mexico, United States, and Canada offers an opportunity. It offers an opportunity of consolidating. Instead of investing 3 times now inside NAFTA, we can invest once, whether it's in Canada or in the United States or in Mexico. And we invest where the quality and the expertise is highest. The Siemens organizations, for example, in Mexico and US and Canada, will sell to the customer. But in behind that, in the product development, in the manufacturing, and even in the marketing strategy, this can be consolidated on a NAFTA basis. And this has even resulted not only in gaining economy of scale, but certainly improving the quality, and it has led even to developing expertise that's gone past NAFTA today. So I could point definitely to job creation in our facilities here in Canada, which are a direct result of NAFTA. I never ever thought that we would be delivering even back to Germany. And today, because of the development within NAFTA and the economy of scale and the expertise and the quality, and the very fact that even in Canada we're manufacturing metric, allows us to look past NAFTA, but this as a very important building block. So I appreciate the opportunities of NAFTA for our staff and for our company.
Bill, I was wondering if you could take a few moments and tell us about what your vision for Siemens is. Where's the company going to?
When I started with Siemens Electric Limited in Canada, we were 12 people. That was 1963. Today we are 4,000 people in 40 offices and 14 plants here in Canada. The growth curve of the company has certainly been very positive over these years. Just from those figures you can realize that. But if I look into the future, I see Canada as definitely a proving ground for new technology. And from this jumping off point, certainly the expansion of these technologies inside NAFTA. I could think of examples, for example, in the transportation field. I could think of examples in the healthcare field. And today we could talk about examples in information technology, where we have been developing with Canadian customers know-how, and then from this know-how base, expanding that strategy and marketing into the United States and even into Mexico.
Bill, I was wondering, we look at Siemens and we still see it primarily as a medical company, a switching company, that sort of thing. Our focus here is about computers and technology and where that's going to. I was wondering if you could fill in the blanks for me about your computers, information technology, and that sort of thing.
Well, we are concentrating in the information technology and development of network systems. We're also active in client server hardware and software in open systems. We're also very active in application software. Here, Siemens, as a very diversified company, brings know-how together, linking information technology, for example, in the healthcare field. If I look at what we're doing in database, in archiving, even as far as images are concerned in the medical field, These are exciting opportunities, and I believe Siemens, through its diversification, and it is the most diversified electronic company today in the world, that we can bring this unique link of information systems, information technology to the actual application, whether it's in the utility field, whether it's in government, whether it's in the healthcare field, or just basically information archiving, transmission, everywhere where the customer today is using this kind of data-based information flow.
Thank you very much for joining us, Bill, on Computer Insider. Bill Waite is the president of Siemens Canada. And by the way, Bill, we understand from our people in the field that you're looking at expanding into 7/24 service, 7 days a week, 24 hours per day, and making this a much more substantial portion of your business. Speaking about portions of business, we have our Fax On Demand system all set for you. It's loaded with the latest computer industry news. All you have to do is dial in from your fax machine. It's a free service. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, all set to keep you informed as to what's happening. And don't forget that we have our fax mailbox. Not only do we want to hear from you about what you're doing with your computers, but also if you have any comments, please don't hesitate to pass them on to us. When we look at computers and computer technology, are we being too conservative in our approach to technology? Next on Computer Insider.
This top marketing executive prepares himself for the demands of today's business with his new Sharp electronic organizer. He has accelerated to the top through careful planning and organization, but he doesn't keep it all in his head. Instead, his competitive advantage is at hand. Always with him, ready with the information most needed, and sometimes with what's needed most. Sharp electronic organizers.
Computer Insider's radio reports can be heard 4 times daily on 680 News. Bob Pritchard brings you the latest computer news and information highlights from Canada's award-winning technology report. Be sure to watch Computer Insider's Files, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings at 6:40 on Canada AM and at 11:28 p.m. immediately following the CTV National News.
One of the things that seems to happen to people when they start using technology is they get into a technology rut. When you first go out and get that computer, you're all set to sit back and to learn some word processing and some spreadsheeting and maybe build up some graphics capabilities. You sit down, you determine what you want to do, you go out and learn how to do that. Then you stop the learning curve. Maybe you should be looking back at your computer and mapping out things that you don't do with it. Find other areas and other opportunities. One way to do that is to simply look at the command structure in your word processor, for example, and find a couple of commands you don't use. In fact, if you were to spend 30 minutes a day taking functions that you don't normally use and learning how to use them, over a very short period of time, you become very competent at using technology. The technology rut is something that happens to everybody. It's not a matter if you're a new user or an expert user. It happens to all of us. So maybe it is time now to sit back and to look at what you're doing with your computer, to look at what programs you have on your machine that you may not have been using, and to sit down and to develop a program of how to do that. Another thing you might challenge yourself with is to join some sort of a users group, so you can sit down with other people who are involved in using technology to see what they've learned and what directions they're going into. There is no shortcut to being good at technology. If you don't do it, you're not going to have a future. The entire world is moving very quickly into technology, and those who don't know will be left behind. I'm Bob Pritchard. This is Computer Insider.
Computer Insider has been brought to you by AST Computer. You'll like the way we work. Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds come sharp products.